Every lawyer gets at least one case in his lifetime. It affects him personally. This one's mine, I guess.
I never thought I'd be lucky enough to do Atticus Finch. And we'd all seen the movie, and we'd all seen Gregory Peck, and who can forget Gregory Peck?
Atticus, do you offend niggers?
Of course I do. Don't say nigger, Scout. It's demeaning.
Before they called for the audition, I didn't really know about. I recognized the name and everything, but after they called me to see if I wanted to audition, and we said yes, I looked up the character, and I was like, this is me. I love Scout, like, because I've always been a tomboy too. I don't really like dresses and stuff, and same with her, so.
I think it has a wonderful dichotomy, a wonderful dynamic between a story told from a child's point of view.
Suppose you're wrong about it.
How's that?
Most people think they're right and you're wrong.
Which gives it sweetness, innocence, and total charm, and inside that is a very ugly story about a community who does not live the truth that's around them, that denies the truth. And the collision of those two stories, the charm given the child's story and the reality of the ugliness inside the community and how the child learns about that, it's pretty powerful stuff.
The Tom Robinson case must be pretty important.
It goes to the essence of man's conscience.
Can you empathize or can you have compassion? Because compassion is seeing something else, seeing from another person's point of view. That's compassion, and that's hard. And some of our great stories are about compassion at the height of pain and torture and death. And when you can have compassion in those places, then your size as a human being is enormous. And we write epic stories about those few people who've done that kind of stuff.
He's a really good father figure, and he has like the warm moments that we have, and also it shows the moments where, like one of the scenes when he's in the trial and he doesn't know that we watched all this, so he's so surprised, like, oh, how do I say this now? Because they just watched all of this happen.
Dennis has very wisely suggested that I do it warmer, that there's warm sides. I mean, you try to undo this relationship between Atticus and his children. Why do they always call him Atticus? Why do they call him Sir? They never call him Dad. They never call him Daddy. He calls them by their name.
Why do all the kids at school make it sound like you're doing something awful?
You're not old enough to understand some things yet, Scott.
I think sometimes older performers have to rediscover and recreate innocence on stage, but younger performers just have innocence on stage, and it's like a glow about them. And and it is the same true with animals, you know? It is. No, acting with a horse on film. If you're beside a horse on film, the shot's made. There's something about the integrity of the horse and his innocence or her innocence that just illuminates the screen.
I think he's a really good father. I feel like a horse sometimes around him. Is there something you want me to do, Atticus?
You keep your head.
With Marcus and Edwin, who play Jem and Dill, it's more, I think we're going through this process together. When the adult company they have more experience in theater, so they help us more with tips and things like that when we're all learning together. It's more of a learning experience, and it is for the adults too. Robert says, or Atticus, says like courage isn't a man with a gun in his hand, like it's more than that. So I think even though the actors are talking to each other, like it's a script, I think everyone who comes to see it's learning too.
Before I can live with other folks, I have to be able to live with myself.
What does that mean?
You know, to put the audience on stage makes them part of the community. So the community, because it's a play about the community, the children within the community. So to actually have the community here with us, who then become part of the court. And the other thing it just does technically, which is fantastic, is it links the stage to the house. So there's no division here. There's no proscenium arch. It's all one wonderful place. It's Dennis's idea, and it's a fantastic idea.
People say that they're sitting on stage, that they're the jury, but they're really not. Well, during the trial they kind of are, but they don't have to act. But for the onstage seating, they get to see more context of before the show, or before the trial happens. So they're not just the jury, they're also like witnesses, I say.
Stop really mad when anything involving a Negro comes up. This is something I don't pretend to understand.
The racism, which is the core of the communal blindness here, is really the bigger story, the blindness to a truth. And that's the bigger story in this play, which is why it's an enduring classic, because it's blindness to truth, a truth that's overwhelming. But the story is such an emblematic story, and it's such an innocent story, and it's such a truthful story, and it's such a tough story, and it's such a hopeful story, even though the outcomes within it are depressing. And it's really a story about innocence in the human heart, and that's pretty hard to resist.
There's one thing that does not abide the majority rule: a person's conscience.